Welcome. Good morning. This is Awakening Truth Sunday Meditation with Kat and Brian. And we are very happy to be with you this morning. And I wanted to share with you a little bit about what we're going to talk about this morning. But first, let's start to get into our body as we begin. So I'm going to sound the bell and invite you into your body. And as you do this, you can just simply close your eyes. If you're driving, please don't do that. But if you are in a place where you're walking or sitting, doing laundry, wherever you are, just pause for a moment and listen inward into your body. As we come into this experience of the body, we come to the attention of the present moment. And we'll do a brief Dharma talk this morning and then a meditation with Brian. And I'm going to talk about the challenge of ill will this morning because there's so much going on in the political climate in the United States of America. I want to address some of the challenge that I've experienced at home in my household with my spiritual elitism around ill will when I think that others aren't spiritual enough for me to be around them, or the ill will that we can have towards our government, right? And so we want to address both of those from a peaceful place, learning from those like Gandhi and MLK from the past who have shined a light on that ability to work within ourselves. I'm going to use two suttas as we begin this Dharma talk, and I will put them in the links below. The first one is about the 10 perfections of your heart. And the second one is about the removal of distracting thoughts. These have really been powerful suttas for me over the last 15 years. They've helped me with understanding more deeply what is it that I'm doing with my speech and my thoughts, my intentional quality of my thoughts and my speech. And because at the beginning of the intention, right, the beginning of the intention is some kind of sense that we have that we need to go against the challenge, the suffering, the the pain in the world with something that we need to do personally. Or it could be something in our relationship. For me, for example, with my husband, right? There's some kind of ill will towards something, and I want it to be more peaceful. But, it's a genuine feeling that we want things to change, right? We want them to be different. And so I'll start with the 10 perfections of the heart because I think they speak to 3 different paths that the Buddha could have taken. And he took one path, right? And I want to talk to you about the 2 other paths that the Buddha could have taken because he also had the choice to either go with, sorry, my daughter's in here. I'm going to pause it. So there's 3 paths the Buddha could have taken. And the first path that he could have taken was the way of listening to someone else. He went to the ascetics and to be a disciple of theirs, right? And he chose not to be a disciple of anybody else's teaching, right? He also could have taken the path as a private Buddha. He could have awakened himself and not shared it. And this is one who is able to reach that place of understanding how to be kind and peaceful and generous and selfless with others, but doesn't actually teach that path of practice, right? And then there's the path, the final path of the Sama Sambuddha, the self-awakened Buddha, who then goes and teaches it. And each of the paths has these paramis, the discernment of bringing goodwill, even when it's, there's a non-love in the situation, we learn how to bring love to that. There's truth, virtue, and that persistence to be in our virtue. There's relinquishment, where there's like a generosity, we're giving of ourselves, our energy, our time, our finances, our attention. And then renunciation, where we notice challenging thoughts. Again, we're just focusing on the thought, right? The ill will thought. And then finally, the fourth part of the parami, or the perfection of the heart, no matter which path of the Buddha you were, is about calm. So that endurance, so that right amount of effort that he talks about in the Eightfold Path, and the equanimity, right? The qualities of the heart that, Brian and Brian's wife, Holly, we've talked a lot about with Compassionate Witness around equanimity because of the challenges in the political climate. We've also talked a lot about the quality of generosity in a community because we show up for each other. Like, how can we be compassionate and bring goodwill in the community? So that discernment and kind of that generosity, we sacrifice our time to be here for each other. And so those three ways of the Buddhas were really a question of were the perfections were and how the paths differed, right? So because of this, all the teachings around the Buddha describe the Buddha as someone like us who could awaken. So whenever we say we have a Buddha mind or a Buddha heart, it's our own ability to wake up to that discernment, truth, relinquishment, and calm, and then share it, right? Share it with the people we love, share it with our friends, share it with people in community, share it at the grocery store, right? Spread a new way of living. And so we'll go into the other sutta now, which is the sutta of removing the thoughts. And when I first read this, I was in a deep search. I was about to prepare for a meditation for a local group. At the time, I was helping peer facilitate meditation groups for Awakening Truth and Dharma punks at the time. And so I brought this talk about the thoughts because whenever we have evil or unskillful thoughts, or we're really angry at somebody in our life, or we're angry at a system, or we're angry at, how politics are running, it can be connected to three things: desire, hatred, and delusion. And we understand from the Buddha's first teachings that these are the source of the ignorance, right? The source of the suffering comes down to that first, like leaning towards something and wanting it to happen, like leaning away and like being repulsed. It's also the Vedana is like pleasant, unpleasant, and then the delusion or the numbness, which is a quality of just this kind of ignorance, right? And I remember when I was first learning about this sutta, removing the distracting thoughts, one of my main teachers at the time was Amatanasanti, the founder of Awakening Truth. And she said to me, she said, if we are in this delusion or numbness in the body, there might be some trauma there that we're not willing to face or experience yet because our capacity, and what I would say is the quality of the heart, right? That quality of discernment is not there yet because we can't see to the truth of our pain and suffering, right? That persistence and virtue to see deep within the root of that thought. And so obviously it's clear, like you can shift to another thought and replace it, right? I think that's one that we all kind of practice with. I have a beautiful tapestry over here with Ty's teachings of turn on beautiful music, go for a walk. And these are beautiful ways to basically replace that thought with another experience so you can process that thought through. And so it's one of, I think, the most powerful practices is to literally turn on music, go for the walk, do something that feeds you with love, right? It feeds you in your physical body, your energy body. It feeds your mind. It feeds your heart. So if it does all of those things, it can start to shift it. So in the sutta, it talks about a carpenter, and they're kind of striking hard, pushing out, getting rid of that coarse peg with a smaller one, right? So this is the same thing. We reflect on a small thing, and then it takes that big thing and it moves it through just steadily. And that's the parami of truth and persistence. You keep working it and it shifts, and then it eliminates. And then in the sutta, the suttas will repeat themselves. And so I invite you, if ever you're reading a sutta like the ones below, you can just take that repetition and just feel that in your body. Instead of going, oh, this is annoying, I don't want to read the same words again, you can just rest in it, right? So the mind stands firm, it settles down, right? So just feel those right now in the body. What does it mean to stand firm for you, right? To feel the energy you replaced it with, to settle down the mind into the heart's experience, into the love experience, and then to become unified with it, right? So there's a couple books from Thai where he speaks to this and Thai is short for Thich Nhat Hanh, and he speaks to the quality of media, right? News. If we feed ourselves with that energy, the mind cannot be coherent with the heart. And without that coherence into becoming unified with what connects us to our Buddha nature, our ability to share out our truth, calm, right? All these things, then we can't concentrate on it either. So the last one I'll talk about is actually clawing our way out of the thoughts. And this one was hard for me because I was thinking, well, there's got to be another way. But it's true. You can actually go in and say, I no longer want to be in these thoughts. And that for me, I had to sit with for a while. And so this week I had a challenging set of thoughts, and I went up to a hill by my work, and we're looking at new offices for my work, right now. And I don't know if we can afford it. It's kind of point of contention for myself because, it's hard to go down a path when you can't quite do it, right? So I had these challenging thoughts around actually my personal relationship. And they were thoughts I knew I didn't want and I knew I wasn't going to follow. But I was having trouble just replacing the thought. And I said, okay, well, I'm going to use the other way of removing the thoughts that I learned in the past through this sutta. So you basically contemplate or reflect on the unskillful, and you go down the whole path of how unskillful it is, how much you would be blamed, how much misery you would experience, and how unskillful it is. And so when I did that, it's a very painful way to claw it out of your system. Then they start to go away because there was a chant we used to always do in community, right? I haven't done it in a little while, but in the chant it says, what is it that's blameworthy, right? We do this practice so we learn how to not be blamed, right? For anything. And I know that sounds like a really high ideal. And for those of us like myself who had a lot to learn from their 20s when I first started practicing, that was challenging. But what it does is it takes our mind and our heart with us down the full path of what we would experience if that thought played out. And then we realize, oh my gosh, I have to claw this out at the very end of that experience of that painful, walking that thought all the way through. And then by that elimination of it, because it's so painful to experience that future that we don't want, we say, okay, the mind is firm, right? The mind is firm. It does not want to be blamed. It does not want to go down that path. The mind settles down, right? I'm witnessing the mind change. And so I sat on the hill after I went through the whole run of thoughts, and I felt the sun, right? I just felt the sun on my skin. And I was unified with, the grass below me, the sun, and the fact that I did not want to feel that much blame. I didn't want that sensory experience, that energetic, physical, mental, heart-based experience. And then that was kind of clawing it out from the depth or the root of the thought. And then I could concentrate. I could sit there and, I was doing some kind of, body movement practice, moving energy through the body. And then I could see my attention be more concentrated. And just like the sutta says, I'm then experiencing it in the body, what the mind is capable of, right? And so I'm sitting with the experience. I'm not getting annoyed that it said it to me a second time. I'm watching what happens when I practice in the way of the sutta, right? And I think that was hard for me at the beginning of learning about Buddhism, was the repetition. But it's also a very simple way to know that each new moment, just how we started with the bell, each new moment is right here, it's present, and it brings us something new. And so when we feel that word in our experience, in the newness of right now, we can watch the change of thoughts. We can watch it eliminate. We can watch how we maybe need to cycle through the rest of the pain or replace the thought. We can choose which path. And that will bring us again to the perfections. I'll list them one last time. And it's the 4 perfections listed down, into the 10. Discernment, which includes goodwill, because as we discern, we shift to goodwill. Truth, if we can't get to goodwill naturally or genuinely or authentically, we do that clawing out practice. We go to the root. Relinquishment, we bring the generosity, we renunciate other experiences of entertainment or, what we could be doing for showing up for community and friends, people in our life. And then calm, endurance, and equanimity. So thank you for listening to this talk. I hope it will support you as you go through the challenges of ill will at this time and start to listen for how you can either replace the thought or get to the root of it and feel it all the way through. So thank you.
Thank you, Kat. Thank you. So we're going to settle in some meditation. Just take a little bit of time to just kind of move around a little bit and feel your body. And then I'm going to invite the bell. I'm going to wake up the bell and then invite the bell 3 times. And the full sound of the bell. And stay with that sound. Each new minute, each new moment is fresh and a chance to awaken and to begin anew and to refine the heart. So we're going to go into a meditation. I'm going to invite our bow. Just find your place, your comfortable posture for meditation. Feel yourself solidly grounded. Breathing in a long breath. Know you're breathing in a long breath. When breathing out, know you're breathing out a long breath. Just really staying with the sensation of the breath at the point where it enters the body. Just feeling the full draw of the breath in and the full draw of the breath out. Just really engaging in mindfulness of the present moment. Each breath, really focusing on the breath, feeling the beginning, middle, and end of the in breath, dissolving into the middle, beginning, middle, and end of the out breath. Being mindful of the gaps between the in breath and the out breath. Let our breath be our anchor, centering us in this present moment. And let the breath be natural, whether it's a shorter breath or a longer breath. Just let the breath be as it is. Just notice the quality of the breath. Each breath brings us to our experience in our body as to what is going on right in this very present moment. Constantly changing environment, internal environment. Just letting go of thinking and just being with the breath. Just noticing any areas of tension or constriction, places we may want to relax a little. Maybe like in the shoulder area, there's tension there. Breathing in to the shoulder area. And breathing out, dropping the shoulders just a little bit. Bring in more space and calm. Let the breath fill the whole body. Breathing out with the whole body. Just feel the air fill the body. The breath is our anchor. Just checking in with our bodies and feeling it, our bodies grounded. Maybe feeling our feet, our legs, feeling our seat and the position of our hands resting. Feeling our arms and our shoulders and our neck and our head. Breathing in, relaxing the whole body. Breathing out, smiling at the whole body. Feeling the space the whole body occupies. Really stepping into this relaxation of the body, bringing that into the foreground, and the breath ever present in the background. Just staying with this calm, even a calm amidst the storm. Going on in our outer world and our inner world. This is our time to settle in. By settling in, we transform this energy of distraction. Just really settling into the relaxation of the body and the breath in the background. Knowing this to be our point of connection to our inner peace, our connection to transformation. Always being able to come back to this spot with a single breath or a single step. Always beginning. The destination is the journey. Each present moment. And just take a moment to just recognize any feelings that may be stirring in the body. Recognizing, just recognizing them. Not writing any stories with them, but just recognizing what's present. Notice any feelings of constriction, delusion, or ill will. Just noticing, not writing them, just noticing the energy behind those feelings. Recognizing with knowing we want transformation of these feelings, but they are present right now, maybe. They are there. Just welcome them in right now. Feel the energy that they are in. At any given moment, we have all the seeds of mindfulness, the seeds of peace, contentment, love, kindness. And we also have the seeds of anger and ill will, and hatred. And they're like all what is present is in our like in our living room. And all the other seeds are like maybe in the basement. They come up and dance in the living room. This is what is our present moment. We can call, we can choose, bring the seeds of mindfulness, the seeds of joy and peace, kindness. And if a seed of ill will shows itself in our living room, just recognizing it and calling on the seed of mindfulness to help polish those qualities of the heart that we would like to be the peace, whatever seeds arise into our living room that become into our consciousness. Welcome the seeds of mindfulness to water those seeds, slowly transforming and nurturing each moment. It's not a one stop fix, it's a constant refinement, just pausing and recognizing and calling on our mindfulness. Each breath is a moment for transformation, for like a polishing of the heart qualities we would like to see, we would like to see in ourselves. We nourish these seeds of ill will, or anger, or hatred. We nourish these seeds. We put space around this constriction of these seeds, these qualities of the heart that block us can be our teachers. We see them, recognize them, then choose our way, our path. Bring in more spaciousness and peace and calm. Let's just drop into this space of peace and calm. With all that's present, bring in equanimity into our foreground, being with all that is. Moving into the present, feeling spaciousness and openness of heart as we welcome this breath and the next breath. Knowing as we go throughout our day that this is always available. Every moment is a moment that we can drop into practice. I'm going to invite the bell twice as we close our meditation. Thank you. Thank you all so much. Thank you.
Thank you.